inspired them to make Albany Law School and our profession a priority. I look forward to hearing from all of you about your experiences with them as well. Next, I would just like to take a moment to recognize some of our guests, including members of the Board of Trustees, the National Alumni Association, and I want to extend a very special welcome to our new president and dean, Cinnamon Carlarn. Dean Carlarn is joining us for her first grand honors of many. And I want to say that we're delighted to have you and look forward to many, many great years. To the family and friends of our honorees, as well as the faculty, staff, alumni, past award recipients, and guests who are joining us tonight, I thank you as well for being here. Now in our 6th year, the Grand Honors Awards continues to be a major initiative of the NAA. And we are so pleased to present 5 prestigious awards tonight to our award winners. With that being said, I'd like to get started with the recognitions. Our first award tonight is for our Outstanding Young Alumni Award. The Outstanding Young Alumni Award was first presented in 1990 and is given to a graduate within the past 10 years who has demonstrated an extraordinary commitment to Albany Law School through consistent volunteerism and engagement. This year's recipient of the Outstanding Young Alumni Award is Mara D. Afzali of the class of 2017. Professionally, Mara currently serves as an associate with Bond, Schoeneck and King. Her focus is on civil litigation in both state and federal court. Her experience includes advising clients with a focus on prevention strategies, as well as other types of risk mitigation. Mara had a somewhat unique journey professionally as she began her career working for more than a decade at an alternative elementary school that specialized in self-directed learning. Her focus was on fostering student-led conflict resolution, areas that all likely inspired and jump-started her legal journey and great experience for what she does professionally today. Mara also interned in federal court at the Northern District of New York for the Honorable May D'Agostino. To add to her unique path, Mara currently serves as a captain in the United States Army Reserve's Judge Advocate General, better known to the rest of us as the JAG. And finally, she volunteers her time with the Knox Fire Department. Very active in the legal community, Mara is a volunteer for the Legal Aid Society, is a part of the Albany County, Capital District Women's, as well as the State Bar Association. In 2018, she was named an Outstanding New Lawyer by the Women's Bar Association. And in 2021, named on the list of Women on the Rise by the Albany Business Review. A terrific recognition, especially for someone so early in their legal career. Mara's involvement with Albany Law School, I might use some military terms here, has been stealthy and kind of under the radar. She doesn't ask for recognition, it's not flashy, but since graduating, Mara has quietly and consistently raised her hand to give back her time in many ways, including as a volunteer judge for the Moot Court program. She takes the calls from Joanne Casey from the Career Center to participate in events and programs, and essentially is our go-to person for JAG-related questions for the students and conversations about that stuff. Mara gives up so much of her time coming back to campus to be involved in networking events, reunions, and she remains all around connected. In fact, Mara was highly involved in this year's orientation program as the keynote speaker, welcoming the 1L class on campus on their very first day and offering them some inspiration and powerful advice to the class to help them get through what is seemingly probably their hardest first year of education. In addition to giving back her time for the students, Mara serves on the Albany Law School's Dean's Leadership Council, a volunteer position that is a sounding board for our dean on planning and strategy for the school. There is so much more to all Mara has done for our school, and much of it we do not even know about because she's so willing to help and she's always helping. So some of it doesn't always go as recognized as it should. But for that, We give her our deepest thanks. Her connection to Albany Law School is invaluable. And again, for this, we thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present the Outstanding Young Alumni Award to Mara D. Afzali, class of 2000.
Thank you so very much for your remarks. Thank you to the law school for this great honor. It really is quite the experience when I found out that I was going to receive this award, and quite the honor. Welcome, Dean Sherlorn, and we're so happy to have you here and for your first year at the Grand Honors Ceremony. I also want to take a minute to congratulate all the other award winners here tonight who we'll hear from, and to thank my family for coming here tonight to show their support. It's certainly nice to be appreciated, as I said, for my contributions to the law school, but it's honestly in every way my privilege to give back to this community because I care so deeply and genuinely for this community, and for the opportunities to come in and meet and mentor the new students. It's a great pleasure of mine to, every time I get to come into the building, come into this room often and meet with the students and the alumni and the professors and get to see everybody. It's really special to me. And I have to say, this even includes the time when I was a keynote speaker at orientation, and one of our other award winners tonight, the amazing Professor Reyhan, decided to use me as her example of what cold calling looked like and test me on the basics of contract law and motion practice in front of all of the new students. It was actually one of the most fun times I had coming back into the building. So, and I want to just also say that there's always an honor in receiving any award that uses the word young in its title. I'll take any opportunity that I have left to receive that award. Thank you all so much.
Congratulations again, Mara. Our next award is the Humanitarian Achievement Award. The Humanitarian Achievement Award was created in 2019 by the NAA to recognize the extraordinary humanitarian contributions of an individual who dedicates their time and legal expertise to improve the quality of life and fight indifference, intolerance, and injustice through providing pro bono legal services. They engage in activism, supporting legal education, and improving the overall quality of the delivery of legal services and far beyond. Tonight, we have this great opportunity to present the Humanitarian Achievement Award to my friend, Major Peter J. Glennon, class of 2004. No. Peter is a well-known and respected litigator throughout the region and country. Peter began his career with Nixon Peabody, focused on an array of legal matters, including financial and employment litigation, trust and estates, among other things. A well-accomplished business attorney, naturally, Peter branched out and started the Glennon Law Firm in Rochester. Today, the Glennon Law Firm is a powerful law firm serving the Rochester, Buffalo, and Albany areas with more than 11 experienced lawyers and professionals, helping clients all over the state with a wide area of practice at an exceptionally high level. Peter has served as a law clerk for the Honorable Elizabeth W. Pine, Associate Justice of the New York State Supreme Court Appellate Division, as an extern law clerk to the Honorable David R. Homer, Federal Magistrate of the Northern District of New York. Peter has been recognized locally and nationally. Peter was acknowledged as a 40 under 40 lawyer by the Rochester Business Journal and is repeatedly named a Power 20 employment attorney in the same region. He established the Glennon Guide series, authoring books and articles sharing his knowledge with the community. Additionally, in 2018, Peter was inducted into the New York State Senate Veterans Hall of Fame. Peter has been involved with Albany Law School for many years, serving on the National Alumni Association Board of Directors, being part of advancement committees, mentoring students, and volunteering for Career Center initiatives. as well as attending many alumni events in the Rochester area and staying connected with the men's rugby team, where Peter and I actually met. However, it's not necessarily Peter's professional and Albany law experience that brings us to presenting him with this award tonight. It's everything else about Peter that makes Peter a humanitarian in his own right. Peter has served in the military. Before earning his commission, he started in the enlisted ranks in 1991 and served with the 107th Airlift Wing, Niagara Falls ARS in the New York Air National Guard. He has served in the Judge Advocate General Corps as a squadron commander of the 107th Logistics Readiness Squadron. He has served our country for over 24 years. And for this, we thank you, Peter. During this time, Peter co-founded the Honor Flight Rochester Incorporated, a hub within the 124 active hubs of Honor Flight Network. The network is a national nonprofit organization with the common goal of showing the nation's veterans appreciation and the honor that they deserve. Peter currently serves as the chair of the board for the Honor Flight Rochester. In this role, Peter works with over 800 volunteers and arranges complimentary trips for World War II, Korean War, Cold War, Vietnam War, and other veterans to visit their monuments and memorials in Washington, D.C. This is truly an admirable, selfless act that Peter's undertaken to help his fellow veterans, and we should all be very proud of what Peter has done. In addition to this great humanitarian service, Peter is also a long-term member of the Rochester Rotary Club, for which he served as president during the 2020-2021 term, and continues serving on the Rochester Rotary Charitable Trust Board. He's a longtime member of the American Legion, Post 889 in Pittsford, New York. He is a former trustee of the Monroe County Bar Association. But Peter is also a family man. He's active in his community, and he often raises his hand as a youth coach to coach his children and other people's children in sports, which I know is sometimes a thankless act that is not all it's cracked up to be. So for that, truly think you're special. Peter Glennon, the time you've committed to serving our country, to showcasing our veterans and their time in service is truly an inspiration. You are a true example of what it means to be a humanitarian, and it is with my great honor to present you with this award tonight.
Thank you very much, Presidente Chico. Thank you all so much for coming. It's so nice to see so many folks here. I want to thank Lisa Keneally Dockett, another alum who's a managing attorney with our firm. And congratulations to all the award recipients, especially Professor Reyhan. I will never forget that first day in property class when you stole Charlie Feldman's book and made him prove it was his. Thanks, Charlie. Thanks for coming out. And he's sitting next to my other good friend, Bob Inkamfong, was just about where Bob and I sat on the first day of orientation here at Albany Law School. So thanks for coming out, guys. Humanitarian award, thank you. That's very kind and appreciate, Mark, your kind words there. Pro bono, I just want to make a quick plug. We do a lot of pro bono. Pro bono is not just what the OCA defines it as. In fact, I suggest there's a lot of working class and middle class families that need legal services, certainly until small claims court raises their thresholds. But there's a lot of $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 claims out there that people can't afford attorneys for. I do think I've floated around Albany Law School. Let's start a clinic. Let's give some kids some real litigation experience in Supreme Court and see what we can do. But to service. Yes, I grew up in a community service minded family. It was certainly reiterated through my service with the United States Air Force. Certainly here at Albany Law School, which preaches service to others. Definitely with the rugby team that always has a community service project going on every year. And when it comes to veterans in particular, I grew up in a small town in the Hudson Valley, Dutchess County, where we had a lot of veterans, World War II, right through Vietnam. And we were taught to respect them, not just for their military service, not just for their willingness to leave their families and serve, whether in war and peace, but they had also come back, and they were the school custodian, the butcher, my neighbor. They were friends. They were people who came together into the community to make it better. And every year for Memorial Day and Veterans Day, there'd be a parade, and we'd have the American Legion marching down as proud as they could be. And we'd listen to those speeches about how important it is to give back and to protect our community and our nation for our values in our community. And it kind of stuck with me. So I did grow up and serve and join the military with Desert Shield and Desert Storm. And I figured it was my time because I had heard time and time again that we were always just one generation away from losing that freedom that we hold so dear, that a lot of people like to argue about. Please feel free to argue about it. That's what the veterans are here for, to give you that right. But anyway, come 2004, if you're not aware, that is when the World War II Memorial first opened in Washington, D.C. Beautiful, beautiful monument, if you haven't seen it, nestled right in the heart of America's front lawn there in the National Mall. And it was for these World War II veterans who were at that time were all in their 80s and early 90s. And a lot of them couldn't go down to see the recognition, the landmark that'll be here to stand through time for their service to saving the world. So this thing started around 2005, 2006, all across the country. People started to say, let's get these World War II guys in their 80s and 90s down to see their memorial before they pass away. More than 2,000 World War II veterans were dying each day at that time, 2004, 5, 6. So it was around 2008 that I found myself with a few friends in Rochester, and we said, let's try to do this here in Rochester. Let's pull some nickels together. Let's find some World War II people. Let's convince them that we're safe and that we could take them down to the World War II monument. And we launched our very first mission in October of 2008, flying just 10 veterans down. And that just grew from there. And we kept taking more veterans down, and we'd take them to see, we'd fly them down to Baltimore, we'd bus them into DC, we'd take them through all the memorials, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, everything there. And then what we thought was a good idea, just because they were so old, we thought we'd stay over in a hotel. We're the first group to think of doing that. What we didn't realize was that simple idea really allowed these men and women who were touring all day in these memorials, who were starting to stand up straighter, to have their shoulders back, to see the life come into their eyes again. They're among their peers. And about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the afternoon, they started opening up and telling stories to each other. And then we'd take them back to this hotel, we'd have a big dinner, and they would just keep talking. And next thing you know, these 80, 90-year-old men and women are really about 30 years old again, full of life, around their peers, people who understand them, people who understood what they were going through. So we thought we were onto something, and we just kept going, flying 6 of those missions every year. Some of these groups stopped after World War II. That was the mission, get them down for World War II Memorial. But in Rochester, where there's so many veterans and so many people supporting veterans, we decided let's keep going. So we started signing up Korean veterans and Cold War veterans and Vietnam veterans, and we continue taking them down. And this weekend, we're flying our 80th mission, and we will have flown over 4,000 veterans by this Sunday. So, you know, some people say, what do you get out of it? We don't get paid at all. And it's no charge to the veterans. We take them down, we feed them, we get them there. What do we get out of it? Recharges your emotional batteries. Gives you a chance to express and show your appreciation of these veterans. It's not just a simple thank you. We show them. But I'll tell you, World War II veterans, it's pretty neat to see their reluctant acknowledgement of our appreciation. Korean veterans, it's great to see them realize they're not forgotten. For the Cold War veterans, they're silent no more. They can open up and speak about their experiences, and their family members can see what mom and dad actually had been doing for all those years. And for those Vietnam veterans, the most mistreated veterans, see them find peace is very powerful. And I'd like to just conclude by sharing a letter with you from a veteran that we just received 2 weeks ago from our last mission. I'm writing this letter because I want to let you know how you changed my life with the experience you gave me by taking me and my son and the other veterans to Washington. Seeing the memorials of all the different wars, most of all the Vietnam Wall, brought tears to my eyes. But most of all was the home welcoming we received in Baltimore and in Rochester. It made me cry. It was 50 years overdue. It brought me to peace, and I forgive the people of the past that made me feel ashamed. Thank you and all your members for what you did for me. Again, thanks for the peace you've given me. So in conclusion, folks, I don't do much. We just want to recognize these veterans. Do me a favor, thank a veteran, show your appreciation. There is a lot of good out there. Go be a part of it. Thank you very much.
Again, Pete, truly amazing. That our next award is the Donald D. DeAngelis Class of 1960 Excellence in Alumni Service Award, which recognizes outstanding dedication and commitment to alumni. The National Alumni Association and Albany Law School. It was named in honor of Donald D. DeAngelis, Class of 1960, who served as the first president of the Alumni Association Board of Directors, was a member of the Board of Trustees, and the associate editor of the Albany Law Review. On behalf of the National Alumni Association, I am honored to present this year's award to William Bill Pulos, Class of 1980. This year, when the NAA board received the nominations, there was a clear distinction of bestowing this particular award to Bill. Bill epitomizes the excellence in alumni service. For decades, and really since he graduated, Bill has passionately, consistently, and methodically, along with intentionally and verbosely at times, had the greatest impact and been a leader in connecting alumni with the school. Not just those of the men's rugby club, albeit that was one of the most significant, but also many other alumni. He places great pride and emphasis on acknowledging those that have made significant impact on our community and keeps their memories of those remarkable alumni, faculty, and friends of the school alive and preserves the fact that they be remembered. More about Bill's impact on our community shortly. Professionally, Bill is the managing partner with Pulos and Roselle LLP, starting his own practice from scratch shortly after he graduated and returning to his hometown of Alfred, New York in 1980. Bill has been recognized for his many achievements in his work and has been honored for his hard work in representing individuals in need of legal support. Bill achieved some of the highest accolades by the peer review professionals from Martindale-Hubbell, certifying him as the highest rating for legal ability and ethical standards nationwide. To our benefit, Bill has dedicated a large portion of his life to community, college, and civic service for the public good. Now on to Bill's service to Albany Law School. As a youngster at the law school, Bill found support through many avenues, including his strong involvement with the men's rugby team and through several mentorships with the faculty and staff. Bill is known as a hard worker on the maintenance crew headed by John Dad DiMatteo, where Bill utilizes the resources while a student to instill his hardworking nature. Serving as the rugby club president during his time as a student, Bill never really squandered that title. For the past 30 plus years, Bill has paid back all that was given to him by keeping the group connected and in touch. Back in 1999, I would like to give Bill credit for creating social media. Bill started an email chain for all of the rugby players. And that's an email chain that is still going today. It's 2023. That's 24 years of the first social network, as far as I'm concerned. Now, this old school technology continues to be a mainstay in connectivity for the rugby team and our alumni. One of the most connected groups at Albany Law, which we're very proud of, and which admittedly, I think I need to be more of a part of. But it was all started by Bill. But what really sets Bill apart as a one-of-a-kind alumnus and human is his impeccable detail with organizing and remembering the school's history. He has dedicated significant time by writing documents, and if you've seen a Bill Pulos document, you definitely know it's from him, on the history of the school, members of the faculty, alumni, and friends of the school. Bill is a mainstay at traditional events such as the Watkins Weekend and the Alumni Game, and he has placed stellar effort by driving anywhere in the country to visit his rugby brothers if it means a stronger connection is made. Bill has also done the ultimate, and for the most part has kept the memories of William Watkins, Jack Welsh, Helen Wilkinson, Jenny Carpinello, Father Doyle, and of course, John DiMatteo in our presence through the continued recognition of their significant impact on him and most of all to our community. For all intents and purposes, Bill, both figuratively and literally, is the greatest historian for Albany Law School. In 2020, Bill moved forward with a significant effort to support our students and place a forever investment into Albany Law School by creating the John P. DiMatteo Scholarship. Personally committing a significant gift to the fund, Bill generated donations from alumni who were significantly impacted by John's mentorship, and has single-handedly raised nearly $200,000 towards the scholarship. What an amazing effort to provide a lasting memory to Dad. And last year, he pulled off an amazing dedication at the scholarship's unveiling, which, if any of you were there last year, Bill did an amazing job. And we heard stories about John and how he impacted not only Bill, but so many of the students here at that time. And this was a little bit before my time, and I was just sitting there in awe, listening to how close they all got for being on the maintenance crew. You know, and at first you're like, a law student being on the maintenance crew. They made it like a fraternity. It sounded like they had a great time doing it. And, you know, for that, I think it really had an effect on Bill, and it's shown through his investment into the law school of his time and everything that he does. But the reason why we're here tonight is Bill Pulos isn't just a name. He's the captain of keeping alumni memories alive and working to pay back our community, which was ultimately given to him, when he was a student. Bill is the inside center to so much of Albany Law School's history that we thank him. We can continue on and on about Bill's impact on many of us in the room, but I am certain he will give us a reflection of his time and what Albany Law School has done for him. On behalf of the National Alumni Association, it is my great pleasure to present the Donald D. DeAngelis Excellence in Alumni Service Award to my friend, Bill Pulos.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Bill Pulos, and I'm from Alfred, New York. I began school here 46 years ago, and I'm honored to be here with you today with appreciation and gratitude to accept the Don DeAngelis Alumni Service Award. Thank you all for being here and tuning in. I feel privileged to share this moment with so many luminaries, both past and present and future. And believe it or not, when I was notified, in spite of this verbose comment I was at a loss for words. Given that this is a formal ceremony, both alumni president Mark Chico and alumni director Jeff Sieber, who's right up there watching me, have very gently encouraged me to stay within the time allotted here at the podium. Of course, I inquired about a clock, whether there would be an LCD or some kind of digital display timer, or maybe even a buzzer like you see on TV. But in spite of my fooling around, both have been very nice and have not overtly given me any instructions. However, Mr. Sieber's implied message, as only he can do, is clear. And it went something like this. Bill, if you talk too long and Mark Chico has to stand up and put his big arm on you, you'll be sitting down. So I'm going to try to avoid all that, okay? I will start and I will, at the end, finish this presentation with these words. My time at Albany Law School and my Albany Law School degree are something that I cherish and for which I am very grateful. So let's begin with offering congratulations to today's specially talented, deserving honorees. Professor Reyhan, Chief Capers, Captain Afzali, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, and fellow rugby alumnus, Major Pete Glennon. I'm honored to be in your presence today. Thank you to my fellow rugby alumnus who are going to get to participate some more. Mark Chico, he's president of the Alumni Association. Serving as president is a big deal. It's a big job, and he's doing it well. Thanks, Mark, for everything that you do for the law school, for the alumni, and for getting me here today. How about a hand for Mark Chico? Now, next to the woman that without whom it's likely I would not be here. Thank you to former President and Dean Alicia Woolette for taking a leap of faith and believing in me and in believing in the John DeMatteo Scholarship Program, and for her service to Albany Law School by getting the school back on the map, continuing as the oldest independent law school in the United States. So wherever she is today, thanks, boss. Of course, congratulations to the new boss, the president and Dean Carlarn. Welcome to Albany Law School and best wishes for your time here. You're going to find many, many alumni that are going to help you. From speaking with you today, I know that one of your goals is to foster community here at the school. Thank you very much for being here. And thank you for making me feel especially welcome. To Dr. Jeffrey Shands and to Director Jeff Sieber and their staff, thank you both and your colleagues very much for your support. Jeff Sieber makes it very easy for me. He listens patiently to all of my stories, regardless of how many times I repeat them. Jeff is a high school football referee and he quarterbacks our efforts as we move that development ball down the field. He's very understated, is extremely gracious, and is very generous with his help and support. He's an all-star. He knows how to handle the alumni, and I hope he stays here for a long time. Yes. As many of you know, I played some rugby here and I swept and mopped the floors during those years. I worked in the legislature, and just like Jeff, I was a high school sports referee. Mike Stafford, a rugby club alumnus from the class of 1975, hired me as his law clerk, and I was paid $3 an hour. And I was probably overpaid. Through it all, I surprised a few people by winning the year-long senior prize trial competition while serving as president of the men's rugby club. I was and I am very grateful for those memories, particularly as I've learned that my rugby teammate Jim Hacker and his firm are now sponsoring the Senior Prize Trial Awards. Jim's firm and our rugby teammates, particularly Frank Willie and Tom Mullen, are very generous with this institution. All of that to say, I could not have done anything here, and I wouldn't be here without my law school roommates, my classmates, my workmates, and my teammates. I'm extremely grateful for the relationships we had and those that we've kept over the last 46 years, all because we went to Albany Law School and because so many of us played the sport of rugby. Thank you to the rugby clubs, both men and female, and to the rugby club alumni for turning out and tuning in today. If anyone here ever needs a favor, has a difficult or dirty job, or has a heavy lift, make the rugby clubs your first call for service. They'll help you out with whatever the problem is. And maybe with that notion, could I ask that our rugby club players and our rugby club alumni stand up and be recognized? Come on. Now you can sit down now, guys. Speaking of service, takes me to remember Professor William Watkins, professor here for 24 years at the Albany Law School, the rugby club founder, the Albany Law Rugby Blue Jackets charter class member, and longtime admissions committee member who died at age 49 in 1986. Professor and alumnus John C. Welsh, class of 1955, the year I was born. Professor here for 43 years, 3-time acting dean, and chair of the admissions committee for 41 years, who died earlier this year at age 92. Father Ken Doyle, class of 1978, Albany Law Rugby Blue Jackets charter class member, the acknowledged and most revered servant of the Albany Law community for at least the last 47 years, who died last year at age 82, and maintenance supervisor John DiMatteo, a Korean War frozen, chosen veteran, the unsung hero of this, excuse me, institution for 33 years, who died at age 82 in 2011. And the reason I'm having a little difficult time here, holy smokes, he would have loved that flight. So, last but not least, maybe if I move around a little bit, I'll do a little better. Last but not least, Helen Wilkinson, the long-serving registrar, the data for whom even I don't have. But I can tell you this, she was the gatekeeper of this place. And she was the velvet hammer. You weren't admitted to school without going through her office. She was a fixture in this building. She arrived early, she worked late, and never said very much. She wasn't one for small talk. She was all business. Now, when I came to school, I had no money. I had no loans lined up. My financial aid application was, politely stated, incomplete, and no tuition was paid. Looking back, I don't even know what my plan was. But when it came to bookkeeping around here, she made the financial call. As much as anyone, she kept me in school while I worked to straighten out my situation. When Professor Welsh was asked how long he was going to stay working and serving this school, in typical fashion, he gave the greatest understated compliment as only he could by saying very concisely, and I won't even try to imitate his voice or his timbre, but he said, when Helen Wilkinson walks out that door, I'm going to be right behind her. So those are the people that ran this place. They were smart and they were tough. All of them dedicated their lives in service to Albany Law School. Not coincidentally, 4 of them have memorial scholarships in their loving memory right here. All of whom helped me when I was here, and all of whom somehow had the faith in me that at some point I was going to get serious and achieve something with my life. They served as my role models and exceeded only by my parents, stand at the top of my people list that have had lasting impact on my life. And we have a living connection to all of them right here. He's already served Albany Law School longer than any of them, perhaps longer than anyone in the history of this school. The fellow to my right, Professor Michael Hutter. And President Chico's permission, we'll get to Professor Hutter here in a minute. Finally, to my parents, Dr. William L. Pulos and Juanita Whitaker Pulos of Alfred, New York. My father was a professor of psychology and education at Alfred University for 36 years. And my mother was a trained pianist, and she was a lifelong public and private school music teacher. My parents taught me the values of hard work, respect, dignity, charity, service, and kindness toward others, along with professionalism, patience, and perseverance. And they infused all of that with a very heavy dose of hands-on agricultural education delivered on our family farm. My parents were not shrinking violets, and they could be tough taskmasters. I learned many lessons the hard way. I gave them a few headaches, and much of the time it was no day at the beach. But if they were here now, they would be humbled, and they would encourage all of us to listen to our hearts, to do what's right, to be of service to others, and don't quit no matter what, to be strong and courageous and not back down in the face of the fear, the adversity, as well as all of the difficulties that we face with the uncertainty in today's world. And most importantly, don't give up on this country. If I had one wish, I'd wish that both of my parents could be here today, standing right over there with Professor Hutter. If I had 2 wishes, I'd wish that Professors Watkins and Welsh, Father Doyle, John DiMatteo, and Helen Wilkinson were standing right over there with them. So let's remember to get some pictures with everyone before we go down to the courtyard for some fun. And it's with gratitude that I encourage you to embrace your community here. That everyone has more ground to cover, more hills to climb, and that we can do it together. It's my hope all of you now have a better feel for why I say I cherish my time at Albany Law School, and I'm very grateful for my Albany Law School degree. Thank you very much for having me. Okay. As indicated, we have a little something special here for Professor Michael Hutter. Since we're celebrating the service and the legacy of Don DeAngelis, and since Professor Hutter has received the DeAngelis Service Award, we think Mr. DeAngelis would approve of us going off book for a few minutes for the beginning of what we hope will be a continuing celebration of the service and achievements of Michael Hutter, one of the all-time greats here at Albany Law School. A quick look at Professor Hutter's biography on the law school's website is an eye-opener. His credentials, skills, acumen, respect, and achievements are second to none. And we encourage everyone to learn about this extraordinary individual because he sits in some rarefied air. The life of Michael Hutter is the definition of service to the profession of law. In anticipation of the beginning of the outpouring of support for this gifted and talented man, on behalf of the Albany Law School alumni generally and the rugby alumni specifically, I'll ask one of my rugby friends from the class of 2023, Dwight Egan, to read the presentation. Come on down, Cap. Man, you're good. And after the ceremony, we'll make sure that we'll all get some pictures with him as well. And as Dwight is reading that, I draw your attention right over here. I get Mr. Chico getting back out of the way. He's bringing photographs of Professor Hutter to go along with this flag.
I think you'll recognize the verbosity, but the meaning behind it. Presented to Professor Michael J. Hutter, professor par excellence at Albany Law School since 1976. Unmatched energy and extraordinary achievement. Prodigious author, lawyer, and consultant. Unmatched integrity and intelligence. Unequaled teacher and practitioner. Servant to the law and profession. Foremost expert in New York law, professional without peer. The lawyer's lawyer, the career and legacy that sets the bar for everyone else. On behalf of the Albany Law School, our departed friends and benefactors, Professor William M. Watkins, Professor John C. Welsh, Father Kenneth J. Doyle, Supervisor John P. DiMatteo, and most particularly, the Albany Law Rugby alumni. We offer our humble gratitude for your outstanding scholarship, teaching, dedication, and your exemplary contributions to the legal profession. You represent the very best of Albany Law School. Thank you for everything.
As usual, Bill, you never fail to disappoint. That was an amazing speech. Moving on to our fourth award. I now have the distinct pleasure of presenting the 2023 Distinguished Alumni Award. The Distinguished Alumni Award was created in 1998 to recognize an individual's continuous record of service to Albany Law School. This is the highest honor that is bestowed by the National Alumni Association Board of Directors. The awards criteria include outstanding professional accomplishments, sustained engagement, and continued support of Albany Law School. It is my honor this year to present the Distinguished Alumni Award today to Robert L. Capers, class of 1996. As a passionate, loyal, dedicated, impressive alumnus, Mr. Capers has made a significant investment and time throughout his remarkable professional journey to give back to Albany Law School. Your loyalty and dedication is so impressive. It is even my understanding that you are missing Parents' Weekend at your son's college to be here to receive your award this year. As a dad, you truly are a special person for doing that. I'll tell you what, though, this moment is meant to be shared with family, your colleagues, your friends. And because of that, we have a very special surprise for you. Several weeks ago, we received a call from a very special person regarding missing Parents' Weekend. And he said to us, "It's my understanding that this award is significant, and I thought it would be very special if I could be part of the moment." Rob, before we get to talk more about you, please take a moment and welcome your son. Thank you, Malcolm, for the time and effort to come up to surprise your dad. Like I told you earlier, I got to meet Malcolm earlier, Rob. What a great young man, but that's what makes this special. Now back to Rob. Rob's career was unprecedented and his dedication to public service is unmatched. Currently, he has the big job as Chief United States Probation Officer for the Eastern District of New York, spending much of his career overseeing 90 federal probation officers and a staff for 2,000 offenders per year. Prior to this role, Rob was a partner at Arndt Fox LLP, where he co-chaired the White Collar Defense and Investigations. His career has also included stops in the Criminal Justice Division of the Department of Justice's Narcotics and Dangerous Drugs section in Washington, D.C., Senior Litigation Counsel in the office's Public Integrity section. Additionally, he has served as the Assistant District Attorney in New York County under Robert Morgenthau. Also served in the Office of the Special Narcotics Prosecutor for the City of New York. In 2015, Mr. Capers was nominated by former President Barack Obama to be the United States Attorney for the Eastern District of New York, and was later confirmed by the Senate and took office in January of 2016. Although Rob's career is well documented and it is remarkable in its own right, it is his continuous and unwavering support for Albany Law School that makes him the choice for this year's Distinguished Alumni Award. Having logged probably over 100,000 miles on his vehicle and several hundred hours on a train, Rob knows how to make his way to Albany Law. He has committed significant time and energy to make sure he supports our students at every level, from mentorships to scholarships. Since 2010, Rob has been a member of the Albany Law School Board of Trustees. In addition to this very important position, he has committed his time as a member of the Government Law Center Advisory Board. Most recently, as Albany Law School placed a priority on its DEI initiatives, he has become a strong partner with the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion team, offering advisory support. Most recently, he returned to campus to give a keynote speech to the students who participated in the newly established Lean Into Success orientation program. This program is an optional 4-day pre-orientation program that is designed to give a diverse group of incoming JD students a preview of life in the law school and what their classroom experiences are going to look like. The program focuses on academic success, and community building. Who better to give remarks and leave these students with advice and well wishes as they navigate the law school than Mr. Rob Capers. Year in and year out, Rob has been a part of so many of our initiatives. Rob made his way to this very room to be the keynote speaker during the 1L student orientation, a role he has been a part of for over 6 different classes, offering a consistent and meaningful message to our newest students. In 2021, he was the commencement speaker for the class of 2021, a moment where he saw this class full circle as he spoke to them at their orientation. He closed the loop when they graduated, showing them what he told them in the beginning was absolutely going to be what was happening. This was also done during the pandemic, which was a unique, tumultuous time for not only the law school, but during commencement. The theme of his speech was, "It takes a village." His speech inspired our graduates to reflect on their journey and be proud of themselves for the hard work that they completed to get through law school, but also to thank those that helped them get through: their parents, their family, their friends, their professors. When you say that Albany Law School offers that, and it truly does take a village, I think it would be safe to say that, Rob, you are now the mayor of that village. Finally, Rob stays connected with us in the alumni network by attending many Albany Law School networking events and returning to campus for several reunions. Rob is also a regular at the New York City alumni gatherings. Rob, you are remarkable in your lifelong dedication to us, our students, and our profession. Albany Law School is better for having you around and for being the recipient of all of the passion that you bring with everything that you do for us. Today, it gives me the highest privilege to present the Distinguished Alumni Award to Robert L. Capers, class of 1996. Oh.
So I'm usually not speechless. And whenever I come up here, I have confounded deans and professors and other folks when they ask me, what are you going to say? And I say, I'm not sure until I get there. And I thought I had an idea of what I was going to say. But what I'm going to start out with is, you got me. You all got me. And you, thank you for this. You know, as I was coming up the highway yesterday, I was having a moment, because when you decide that you're going to spend your life in your career in service, it's difficult. You serve, and many times you serve not knowing the difference that you're making, because a lot of times you don't get a response. And when you work in law enforcement, and particularly now in community corrections like I do, it is rare that you hear thank you, right? We work to try to keep the community safe by giving people who have become justice involved a second chance. I'm a man of faith, and I believe that my God that I serve is a God of second chances and third chances. And so if he can be that, so can I. And after a career chasing people and capturing them and going to the far reaches of the world to bring to justice people who have committed murder and mayhem and other things in our society, You just don't know the difference that you're making, right? This is my son, Malcolm. He's 21. I remember the day he was born, and I knew that there was nothing I wouldn't do to keep him and my little girl, Nia, who you can't see right now, safe. And by extension, I felt like I was doing everything I could to keep my community, people, you all, your family, everybody safe. You try to take on this role of Superman, knowing that you can't cure everything, but trying to do the best you can. And you become reflective and you look at what you've done. And your greatest example of that are your babies. This is my son, my firstborn. Thank you for the surprise. Professor Reyhan, I'm trying not to mess this up. So Professor Reyhan has been hazing me since the fall of 1993. And when I delivered remarks at the graduation a few years ago, as they were announcing me, she turned around and said, "Don't screw this up." And I've been guided by that principle since then and over. And so I was talking to my best friend, Hugh, who was on there, and I was trying to figure out all that I had accomplished and had I done enough. And I talked to him about coming up here and receiving this accolade, not because I was looking for it, but it is confirmation that I am doing well at what I'm doing, I think. So thank you all for that affirmation, for this beautiful award, for bringing my boy here with me. This is a terrific award, and when I look at the list of names that have succeeded me, I know I'm breathing rarefied air. But even more so, I know I'm fulfilling what my destiny was. You see, I come from a family of servants. So that's my mother, Dorothy Capers, and my father, John Capers. My father was in the Marine Corps, 1958 to 1961. He served in the New York City Police Department as a homicide detective in Manhattan North from 1963 to 1983. And then did another 32 years with the Manhattan DA's office as a homicide investigator. My mother, Dorothy, is an educator for 52 years. They're what we call self-made people, born and raised in the segregated South, who came north and made a life. So my brother, my twin brother, John, a retired New York City police detective like my father, for my sister who runs a food bank in Atlanta, Georgia, and me. And service was always important, but more importantly, was quiet service. The service that you do because you serve and you're meant to serve. And so accolades like this are always difficult because you don't expect them when you're in service. When they come, they're a blessing, but you don't expect them. And sometimes they come right on time. And this was right on time. My in-laws, Gene and Bill Burgess, they're up there in the top right. Lean to the left a little bit, Mom. A retired nurse of 50 years, whom my little girl, Nia, at 15, has decided she wants to be like. My father-in-law, who was a social worker, Bill Burgess, for the city of New York for 35 years. I think my wife's Aunt Monica, leaning forward so they can see you. That's my wife right there, Kim Capers, herself a public servant, a career prosecutor in the city of New York and in Bergen County, New Jersey, where we lived for the past 25 years. And that's my baby, Nia. Nia, lean to the right. These are the people who make up the core of my existence. They have made me and shaped me and molded me to be the man that I am. To be the husband and the father that I am, the son, the friend, the servant that I am. And I bring that to bear here because Albany Law School, this service-oriented place, is a place where the road was rocky, but it taught me the highest principles of service and gave me the platform that I could have to become the servant that I am. And I was gone for many years, but my path brought me back because I want to have a hand in the next generation of servants that come. And that doesn't mean you have to be a public servant. We all can do our part, and everybody here is doing their part. And that's what's important. That greater than making money or anything else is the legacy of service that you leave in your wake. And so I thank you for this today. I thank you for bringing my boy. I won't forget this.
Rob, I do want to just say one thing. I want to make sure I correct the narrative on this. This is 100% Malcolm. He called us. This is his idea. He set this all up. I suspect he didn't pay for the flight, but that's possible. But I just want to make sure that he gets the full credit for this because we as the institution, we just helped him through it. And he spent the entire day in our office and we got to know him and he's a great guy. So I'm sure.
And now I get to turn over the microphone to present our final award. I'd like to welcome up the chair of the Albany Law School Board of Trustees, Dan Grossman, class of 1978.
Thank you, Mark. I would like to take a moment to congratulate Mara, Peter, Bill, and Rob on behalf of the Board of Trustees, who are all great champions of Albany law. This evening, I am so pleased to have the great honor to present the Albany Law School Trustees Gold Medal. The Trustees Gold Medal, first awarded in 1966, is the highest accolade bestowed by Albany Law School and is given to an individual who has demonstrated a record of exemplary support and dedication to the advancement of Albany Law School. Since the founding of this award, the Board of Trustees has honored 68 exceptional graduates, faculty, and friends of the school. Of those 68, there have only been 5 trustee gold medals bestowed to a faculty member. This year, I am thrilled to present this honor to Professor Patricia Reyhan. Patricia Reyhan joined Albany Law School in 1980 as its third female faculty member. She graduated from the Willamette University with her JD and pursued her LLM at Harvard Law School. Prior to coming to Albany Law, she served as a confidential law clerk for Justice Charles Stafford of the High Court of the State of Washington. Professor Reyhan, through her remarkable teaching style, has connected with thousands of our students, now alumni, working tirelessly to prepare them for a legal career and empower them as leaders and problem solvers for our world. It was a result of this unwavering dedication that she was named Albany Law School's first Governor George E. Pataki Endowed Professor of International Commercial Law in 2002. She currently holds the title of Distinguished Professor of Law Emerita. Pat is a go-to person for so many of the school's needs. She has chaired and continues to chair the Faculty Search Committee, oftentimes opening her own home for dinners for prospective faculty to feel the community culture we cherish at our school. In her 3+ decades at Albany Law, Pat has provided great insight and expertise to all of the faculty committees having served on each of them to help advance our school. When it comes to our students, she is first to raise her hand to help in orientation, sitting on panels, teaching a class, or just spending time with our newest cohort of students to make sure they are off to a great start on their journey. When it comes to being a mentor and advisor, Pat goes above and beyond. She has helped many students on a one-to-one basis achieve their greatest potential, has taken the time to be immersed in many of the clubs and organizations, and has actively been involved with the moot court competitions to advise and train our students to be true leaders of the world, in the field. As an example, for over 2 decades, she coached the Philip C. Jessup International Moot Court teams. Pat's service to our school continues to be of utmost value. In fact, this past May at commencement, she was awarded the 2023 Faculty Award for Excellence in Service. This was an honor given to her for outstanding dedication to the service of students, to the institution, and to legal education. Prior to that, she was awarded with the Faculty Award for Excellence in Teaching. Professor Reyhan is also a mentor to so many of our faculty, especially those onboarding into our community. At one point in her career, she held the role of Associate Dean of Academic Affairs. Professor Reyhan has authored numerous articles on international law, property, and conflict of law. Our students, through her classes in commercial law, conflict law, international law, and property law, all have benefited from her remarkable tenure and her deep knowledge in these fields. 4 years ago, together with Professor Ted DeBarbieri, Professor Reyhan created the very popular First Mondays program, a brainstorm of hers. First Mondays is a special monthly discussion with students, faculty, alumni, and special guests about current business and political events through a legal lens. Finally, Pat is a mainstay in our alumni and fundraising initiatives, having participated in many of our campaigns to advance our great school, because she connects generations of alumni and friends together. Often on the road during an alumni event, Pat will be the most popular person in the room, as groups of alumni wait to talk with her. She has attended hundreds of events over the years. In fact, I hear her golf game isn't too bad either. She is a regular participant in the annual Albany Law School golf outing. Professor Reyhan is special. She came to Albany Law School to teach, and decades later, she is still doing that. She is dedicated, humble, and hardworking. She brings so much historical relevance and perspective to our community that we are so very lucky she joined us as a professor some 43 years ago. Now, before I continue with this presentation, you know, Professor Reyhan, I didn't have the pleasure of having you as a professor since I graduated in the prehistoric era, 1978 class. Well, I have no doubt if I had come to school a little bit later, I would have had you, hopefully as a property professor, perhaps for international law, and I'm sure would have loved every minute of it. But I thought it would be nice tonight, in addition to me standing here handing you this lovely award, to call down a former student, a dear friend, a fellow trustee, and our current vice chair of the board, Diane Phillips, to join me. Come on down, Diane. Okay, join me. I told you it was so close. Okay. Okay, on behalf of the Board of Trustees and with great personal admiration and affection, I am so delighted to be able to honor and celebrate Pat with the following recognition: for your enduring commitment, tireless leadership, abundant support, and unflagging service to our community. It is a great honor to present the Board of Trustees Gold Medal to Patricia Reyhan, Distinguished Professor of Law Emerita. Not a problem.
Now, the only person who has followed the rules that were directed to us on time is the most recent graduate. Maura, if you had to get up here, next time you get an award, don't pay any attention. So a few years ago, I was introduced by my dear colleague, Jim Redwood, in another occasion as being compared to the swallows of San Juan Capistrano. That I don't know if you know about the swallows of San Juan Capistrano, but they leave a mission every year in California. They fly away on the same day. And then at some point, a bit of a year later, they come back on the same day. And there's big parades and everything else. And I thought, what a lovely way to describe me as a bird that comes back every single time. And so I was pleased. But then a couple of days later, I thought, well, I listened to it and thought that Jim was saying how nice it was that I always return. And the more I thought about it, I said, maybe what he was really saying was, God, she never, ever leaves. Now, why do I mention that? Because jump ahead a couple of years and jump back 5 weeks. I was starting my retirement, a phased retirement, but my retirement. And like everyone who starts retirement, I was very nervous about how my retirement was going to go. Was I going to be bored? And I had started to work on projects. I had 2 projects. One project was to relearn German. The other was to watch my brother's hair grow. Now, I mention this because my brother and my sister-in-law retired before me. And as far as I can tell, my brother's project for his retirement is to let his hair grow. So if you'll indulge me as I introduce my brother's hair, Charlie Youngblood, stand please. And my beloved sister-in-law, Concetta Lamonto, stand please. Today is Concetta's birthday, and I appreciate the fact that she's staying. And the minute I sit down, they may rush off for a movie. Don't think they're rude. That's just the birthday present for today. Concetta and Charlie met in law school, I believe, in trust and estates class, and they have 2 children and 1 grandchild to show what great things Albany Law School can do. All the things that have been mentioned. So, as I say, 5.5 weeks ago, I'm contemplating my retirement. 3.5 days later, we have a situation where the law school needs someone to teach a course. And I find myself saying, I will do it. And I was listening, thinking, who's saying that? But I said, I will do it. So that was Thursday afternoon. So that was exactly 5 weeks ago. The next day, Jeff Sieber comes to my office and stands in the door of my office, and he has a white envelope in his hand. And maybe it's because I'm a lawyer, and maybe it's because Charlie will tell you in a nanosecond, I misstepped a lot when I was growing up, but I thought he was serving me with process. It was the first thing that went through my mind is, oh my God, it's caught up with me. A lovely letter telling me that I had been awarded the gold medal by the Board of Trustees. And I was absolutely thrilled because, as I told my colleagues on the faculty, I've only ever won 2 gold medals. One was in 1961 when I won a ski race. And I won the ski race because our last name is Youngblood. They ran us alphabetically. Every single person that raced before me fell down. And so in order to win the gold medal, all I had to do was get down the hill and not fall down. And quite amazingly, my brother would tell you if you've seen me ski, it's not a sure thing that I'm going to get down the hill and not fall down. So I took pride in this particular award because I assume that it was given to me for more than the fact that I am still standing up. I like that. Thank you, Dan. So the funny thing was, though, just as with Jim Redwood, when he compared me with the swallows, and a bit later, I thought maybe what he's saying is I never leave. All of a sudden I thought, oh my God, the trustees thought I retired. And here I am back. And is this like the gold watch they're going to take back? You know, you're not supposed to come back. So it's now been 5 weeks, and now I can be absolutely sure you're not going to take it back. If you were my student, I would call on you to recite the rule with respect to inter vivos gifts. And I know Mr. Capers and Mr. Glennon remember this from studying property with me, that the rule with respect to inter vivos gifts is you cannot revoke them. So now that I have this, I know it can't be revoked and I'm not giving it back. So let's jump forward to how much I appreciate this award. Mr. Capers spoke about his faith and family and the blessings, and I wish to speak about my blessings. I will cry because I do that. Give me a minute. Okay, the first blessing I have is my family. You met Charlie and Conzetta. They have wonderful kids. They have a wonderful grandson. This one will get me. That's Leora right there. That's the one you saw in 1993. Look at her. She's fabulous. That's her husband, Daniel. Where's Danny? There's my boy. So I've been incredibly blessed by my family, but that's not why I'm here. I'm here to speak only for 1 more minute about the blessing, well, 3 more minutes, about the blessing that Albany Law School has been in my life. I came here in 1980. Mr. Pulos spoke about Watkins and Welsh and Wilkinson and D'Amato and all that. These people were incredibly inspirational to me. They were the inspiration for my professional and my personal development, and I never forget them in this building. I have new colleagues and colleagues I've served with all along who are magnificent. Our faculty is absolutely magnificent. And the newest members just blow me away. They are so inspiring. They are so committed. And I hope I can be half of the professional and personal example to them as the people I have mentioned, also including Catherine Katz and Howard Sproul as the inspiration to the start of my career. It has meant the world to me to have my colleagues. I've also been blessed by the dean that hired me, Dean Richard Bartlett, and the dean that rehired me. I came back to the law school, and that's Alicia Willett. I came back to the law school in 2015. I had lost my husband. My daughter was about to be deployed, and I needed a safe harbor. And this was my safe harbor, and Alicia did that for me, and I'll always be grateful. I have had a few days to recognize how blessed I am that I will end my career here with Dean Carlarn. And you are just, as my limited exposure to you, you are just fantastic. Now I say I'm going to end my career during your deanship. I'm not, I don't want it to, I don't want to end your deanship to be long. Okay, so win-win for both of us. And usually, but finally, I just have to thank the alumni and all the students I've taught. You have enriched my life so much. You're funny, you're dedicated, you drive me nuts sometimes. I've been so pleased. I don't make people stand up anymore. I know that's disappointing to some of you, although a few people have encouraged me now to go back to that. And I just might do it my final semesters. But to have the blessing of being a teacher is just absolutely remarkable. And to have the blessing of the highest award this institution could give for being a teacher means the world to me. So thank you so much. I'm going to hold this tight just in case someone forgets that this is irrevocable.
Thought I was done, but I guess I get to introduce more people. Now I'd like to welcome our new dean and president, Cinnamon Carlarn.
I'm a little overwhelmed in the most wonderful kind of way. And I'm very, very humbled to be part of this community. I'm going to go off script and just say, You know, when I came to Albany Law School, I knew that this was an incredible community. But hearing from folks tonight, seeing the dedication, really appreciating how deep the commitment goes and how strong the ties are. I just want to say how proud I am to stand here, how lucky I feel to be here, and how committed I am to continuing this incredible, incredible legacy. I'm going to try not to screw this up. I'm learning that lesson. And my only critique is that there definitely needs to be tissue just sitting right here. To our honorees, Mara, Peter, Bill, Rob, and Pat, it truly is an honor to share this very first Grand Honors Awards with the five of you. I cannot imagine better company. So again, I'm humbled to be here in your company and to share this space. I'm inspired by your work, by your commitment, and your leadership, true leadership. And I do think that that's one of the things that Albany Law does best. We not only produce amazing lawyers, but also incredible leaders. I'm thankful for our alumni and friends like you, and I'm honored to be part of this wonderful community that you so exceptionally represent. And I'm really thrilled, but not at all surprised, to hear the incredible positive impact that you've had over decades, and to hear also how you bring back the legacy of all of those who shaped you as well. Albany Law School has a truly extraordinary group of alumni and a truly extraordinary group of students as well. The more I learn and the more alumni I get to meet, the more I realize really how exceptional the community is and how dedicated we are to ensuring the continuing success of our school and our students. So to everyone in the room tonight who made time to come and celebrate the award recipients, and everyone online, especially all the family members, thank you. Your extraordinary support for Albany Law School and for its leaders is deeply appreciated by everyone in our community. It's your support and your generosity, both with your time and your resources and your leadership, that really help ensure that Albany Law School will remain a true bastion of excellence and a leader in legal education. And I am dedicated to that mission. This was truly a special evening. It's already one of my favorite evenings, and I don't have much to compare it to, but it's going to stay that way. I want to thank the National Alumni Association for taking the time to honor our dedicated and deserving alumni. Mark, where'd you go? Also, the best smile ever in every photo. I loved getting to see that. Mark, this is a wonderful and very special event. Thank you so much for your involvement and for letting me be involved. I feel, again, honored to be part of this. And Dan and all the Board of Trustees, thank you for taking the moment to recognize all of these amazing awardees, including someone very special to our faculty, of course. But most of all, thank you for being so committed to Albany Law School. So again, congratulations to all of the amazing awardees. You're so deserving and you represent Albany Law School so well. And I'm so proud to be part of your company. So congratulations.
Thank you, Dean. I also would like to congratulate Professor Reyhan on the Gold Star Award. I didn't get a chance to say anything about Professor Reyhan. She was also one of my professors. Congratulations. This has been a terrific evening for Albany Law School, and congratulations to everyone who's won an award. And a special thank you to all those who came out to watch and those on Zoom watching us back there. You're all invited to a celebration reception in the courtyard. You know, true Albany Law style. It's like a TGIF. Today's Thursday, so we'll call it a TGIT in the courtyard. So everyone come down and we can mingle and we can hear more stories from you. Thank you, everyone.